must demand a ceasefire. They must demand that Israel stop bombing children and stop burying them under rubble. They must demand a humanitarian corridor so aid and medical supplies can get in. They must demand they have electricity. They must demand that there is food and water. This is an emergency now, a crisis, and people must rise to it.
The God Emperor of mankind, that being Donald Trump, looks like he's secured a peace deal in the Middle East. And a lot of people thought that this wasn't going to be possible, but he's managed to make the deal, and good on him for doing that. So it looks as if Hamas has agreed to lay down their weapons as a condition of the peace deal, and Israel are giving them back some of their terrorists, they're releasing the hostages, and whatever else has got to be worked out in the region. And obviously these things are very fragile and things can go wrong, but fingers crossed the death and killing and destruction of human beings in that part of the region will calm down, at least for a little while. Anyway, and in the West, of course, we've been dealing with a lot of protests and a lot of people shouting about this, and it looks like at last we'll be to move forward and put all of this behind us.
If we acted enough, the headline behind me would read, Gaza has been liberated. So our work is not done. We must show up. Stronger than we did the first October 7th. Louder than we did the first October 7th. Make it clear that we are not going anywhere. We will keep fighting until Palestine is free. From the river to the sea. Within our lifetime.
Well, absolutely, and it just makes you wonder whether the marches are all about Jew hatred rather than freedom for Palestine. But they're set to go on.
Quite possibly.
What are they actually marching for now, Penny?
There's a UCL Action for Palestine shared a post from campaign group Palestine Lobby calling for total liberation from the river to the sea, which and then there's another one saying their duty is to ensure Zionism is completely eradicated. So
exactly.
Which many would say is quite anti-Semitic.
Exactly. It makes you question the whole purpose of them right from the start. You know, we thought the problem was solved, but not for them. They're going to keep protesting.
So do you think this is less about the people in Palestine and more about people just not liking Israel existing and Jewish people in general?
Absolutely. You know, the former Prime Minister of Israel, Naftali Bennett, said it's obvious that all they want is the destruction of Israel. Full stop.
And I think that's right. I think these protests that have been going on have been a little bit about Gaza, of course, but mainly it's about Jews. That's what it's been all about. And, throughout the whole of this conflict, there's been a certain section of British politics who've been actively campaigning for the destruction of the Jewish state. And, of course, then we move on to two of our dear beloved MPs, being Zara Sultana and Jezbollah, or Jeremy Corbyn. And here they were jubilant, and as well there might be, there was movement, and the bombing and the death and destruction has appeared to stop with this ceasefire. And it was closely followed by this letter from Jeremy Corbyn. And you'll see on the last couple of paragraphs there what the intention is going forward. The intention going forward is that these aren't going to stop. They're not going to rest until the occupation of Palestine is over and everyone in Gaza is free, which is never, ever going to happen. So this is a perpetual protest. And in fact, in line with that, there is a protest going on tomorrow in central London. There's a march for Palestine. And so if anybody thought that these marches were going to stop, you were sadly mistaken. And I was thinking about the concept of protests and how it's held, sacrosanct by everyone. All the politicians come out and say, oh, we can't stop protest. It's a fundamental right that you protest. Well, wasn't it the case that it was a fundamental right, that free speech was like that, until it wasn't? Until the government started arresting people for free speech? So that was sacrosanct, but that's not the case anymore. But it is the case that you're allowed to make everyone's lives a misery, weekend after weekend, protesting about something that's happening on the other side of the world. And isn't it the case that you import people from the third world and you get third world problems? And this is the perfect case to illuminate that point. This has got nothing to do with Britain anymore, but yet we have huge groups of people who've just arrived in our country that want to make this the number one issue, that want to make our lives a misery by perpetually talking about their views on Gaza and their views on Jewish people. And I think at some point in the West, we are going to have to confront this issue of allowing people to protest. Yes, we should allow people to protest, but it's reaching a point now where that right has been stretched even beyond the limits of normality. And at some point, we are going to have to confront that very point and grab the bull by the horns and just say, stop it, enough now. But what politician is going to be willing to stand up and do that, given how weak they are and how much they enjoy sitting back and watching everything dear in our country be slowly destroyed? Thanks very much for your time.